Hey. Good evening, all. Good afternoon, all. Good morning, wherever you are. Usa una day. We don't come back again. Oh, Mina Fadima, we don't come back again today with another edition of Social Media Review. We are back. We are back to talk on issues. We are back to talk about issues. We are about to give solutions. We are about for talk waiting the money and for talk the good thing them where we depend our country, what they do in our country, what government they do. We can talk of the bad one them, but today we get one big one. We don't make the rounds now. Social media will one rob much pan today. And I say una thank you as usual every week. Una they come for join we tell una thank you because without una viewers no exist. Without una now una that the voice of Sierra Leone. Not of can listen to we no more what they talk, but una self una voice matter. And as long as we respect one another, that is the the rules of this platform. It was founded by Mr. Kagbo and Mr. Toure, and then come together, Mohamed Toure, Taiwo Tarali, sorry. Then come together, then say, let them come make a platform, a voice away from home, where the one day where they run with country, the one day where they have free tongue, that they yeri we for what they talk and where they put we concern and make suggestions and praise the USA for praise them and criticize the USA and criticize them. But like I say, as we tell God thank you, it's another day, it's another chance for make things right. It's another just a privilege to be alive. So let we enjoy every moment, let we embrace every moment, and life is just beautiful if only we just understand what is life and share the love and try for make everybody in life better. That's the goal of living. That's the goal of life, because we see people and they die around we every day. We see people then they then they then sick, but we tell the Almighty God thank you. Everybody get in where we call them. Everybody get in way. Me not to condemn nobody. I am not the judge. God said, judge not. God said, just love one another. No matter who say you day, not to me own job down there for bring you who say me day. You do who say day, me day, inside me day. And the God will make the universe, the God will be in charge. Now ain't gonna be the judge. But we tell him thank you. We get all the praise, we get all the glory, we get all the honor for just another day. It keep we alive. Because there are things we can control, but there are things beyond our control. Like one of the things, life. We don't get control of life. So we tell God thank you for that. But also una get for share, because we wanna share the word they go far. We wanna share more people they come. We wanna share we all go come make, because we all want to see the change that we want to see. We want to see a beautiful Sierra Leone. We all want to see a Sierra Leone where we go live in love and harmony. Yes, not to everybody go get along all the time. Yes, not to everybody go belong one side, but everybody get a choice for belong, because that's what makes it neutral. Your view, my view, it makes it neutral, because you see it from your view, say you right, me say I say I right, but for the good of the country, for the good of humanity, for the good of mankind, we try for bring and come together. Let we meet in the middle. Let people are able to live and live the maximum potential. So as usual, I get me two hosts them, me two co-hosts there with me. My honorable men, gentlemen, fine gentlemen, distinguished gentlemen, Mr. Shilon, lawyer Shilon, practicing defense attorney, like I can say, if una get any problem with law business question, he is willing. He is just a phone call away. Una call her, make it direct to una, or maybe you go able to una get in consultation or whatever. Sometimes consultation is free, but sometimes you gotta pay too, because the family gotta eat. Yeah, so he has been practicing law for 40 years in the United States. So it's sabi bokutin them if una waiting call. And again, me other co-host, we on VOS honorary professor. Not the kind of the camera because it get problem with technical difficulty. That's why we not they see them now the camera because we are using a different system. And the old system we get now older version, so you're not able to transfer it, can't we? But as time they go, we go see now the camera live, but it day which we live and we're gonna go hearing voice and we put in fine picture on our face. We own honorary Professor Kutubu. Now viewers name him, now viewers get the honor for call and say because he knows about Sierra Leone. He has vast knowledge of a lot of things. And like I can say, that's in favorite word and in mantra way they go by. I have no permanent friend, no permanent enemy. I speak the issue like I see them. I call the issue. Yes, sometimes we all not agree with her on something them, but most them, we can say, oh, Kutubu is a breath of fresh air for just speak them and call them like we see them. So bring the in and tell on I do that we go can to the topic of today because with the talk of corruption, this corruption allegations, then they come from left and right, and it is overclouding the BO administration, President BO administration, and it is not looking good for him. So let we can up much pandande, but let pass on to my co-host there. Let them say hi to una share to your groups. Una share all one time for me if una like me. Una share for me if una happy for see me old face. And somebody been give me a compliment one time, say love me smile. Let me smile again, so maybe other people will love it. But Mr. Shilon, Professor Apasantona, thank you.
Yeah, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Any side in the world listening to a program. I hope the next 2 hours will be very entertaining, and we hope we're going to contribute ideas and comments based on the discussion and you feeling about Sierra Leone and the world for that matter. So we're glad for bringing on board again this weekend and hope we go enjoy the show and good luck to everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, in associating myself with the fine remarks them way the chief correspondent not make and the distinguished attorney, I just want to know all Kushe and Kabo. I hope say we will get a very, very wonderful evening today. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. My people them. Until we all know say Corona day, we all know say Corona they kill. We all don't see the world, they don't make vaccination for this corona. We tell God thank you. Because the sense of science self getting all the way they play in humanity, and science don't come a long way. And the only thing with science no able make it now for preserve life and for stop death. So, but science don't bring out, don't come out with this vaccination for COVID. They get different version of them. And Mr. Self don't take me on then there's here because it is not mandatory, but it is encouraged that we take it. And then we see SALONE president. Look, myself take me on madam, and also they gave me a card. I therefore go take my second dose. I took it because I want for preserve myself because there's wisdom in anything what they do. And this side where within the world, Corona don't kill. Corona don't kill boku people them. Corona they kill in rapid naya. But we tell God thank you, Sierra Leone, it not day too much. It day boy not day very rare. Where some people and they even doubt say now make up the governments, they make up the story. We see Chinese then give we vaccination. But some people them we kind of mind say China not give all in people it's why they can't give SALONE. We get partner, we love partnership, but we get for keeping back of our mind say yes, them with man then they don't can't do boku bad thing them, but then science then test them, but we people them. So we become very cautious and very kind of pessimistic. We they say, hey, what in the non can give you, what in the non can give you. But we see with President President Madabio and some other top senior people them, they don't take this vaccine here. And it kind of encourage him because we call Sele President Bio, but some people still they say now what what and call them on a fake they don't give na this and that. It's up to you. Corona is real. All I can say, corona they kill people then at the world. They not force you for take them. If you want take them, you take them. It's on you. It's on you, corona. If you feel say you don't need them, then not take them. But be cautious, be very cautious, take precautions. Wear the mask, especially in Sierra Leone, the mask. Because as people then they say, if corona been in Africa, the way it rampant na then say where we day, I say everybody every day na so the body will go to jump on top. But tell God thank you, waiting. But we see we only that them they take them. So if una feel say it is encouraged to take it, because me I don't take me on America. I know say I take the Moderna, I take that then get the Pfizer, then get the Johnson and Johnson where they don't come up. Me na 2 doses I get for take within the next month I get for go take my second dose. So it up to una if una trust them, if una feel say waiting and call. But usai me then I me no say I feel secure, I feel safe, so I don't take my coronavirus vaccine. So I know say Mr. Shilon self don't take your own, and I know say Professor get for taking on this week. So Professor self go show Mr. Shilon, you know been take picture, but Professor go bring a so that person to una what una see, una don't see we leader, they don't make the example. There was even a joke on social media where they show President Bio, they say President Bio own vaccine where he may take he get 1, 2, 3. He get security all day for help and take the vaccine. But then they show one where Biden they take. Biden I ain't one grade no more with the nurse. Now and the nurse no more. So people were just making a joke. It good for laugh. It good for laugh. It good for laugh. It was funny. I see him. It was funny. It was funny. So sometimes we gotta laugh at ourselves. We gotta laugh at each other, and that makes healthy life. But yeah, anybody else get anything for say about this corona before we go to the other thing of the day?
I was just wondering if which vaccine did you take, SALONE? Do we know the Chinese one or now one of the one the older gets?
Well, I don't know which one then take because I cannot answer that, Professor. I don't know if anybody in the audience know what the if anybody know now the audience whose vaccine then take now the one who come out China. I think they be say England give them back again. I don't know. But I look and say they're not done for vaccine the young people yet. Who side people then they die, they don't go give it some. But anyway, still okay because it's the thought that counts. But we get for just be, very, very cautious, So I don't know, sir. Go ahead. Mr. Shilong, go ahead, please.
Oh no, that was just I was interested in knowing because they not tell we since we know they make vaccine we forget them from abroad. I was just wondering whether not from England, from America, or the latest one we'll be dealing with last week. We didn't say China send. Then we'll be get some questions about whether the Chinese Union, the World Health Organization think okay, and how is it in comparison to the one they would get now? So I was just curious because I know say President Bio and others and don't get them. And we be the suggested before anybody take the Chinese one, make the Minister of Health and the President and Cabinet and take them. So we don't know whether or not the one and the so for information purposes, it would be good whoever they listen to this broadcast for just make we know. Because all vaccines are not equal. So when people begin forget, if people begin forget any reaction, let we know which and taken. Whether we not begin say, oh, the vaccine was bad, or without knowing which the people and take back home are supposed to, which you would get there. That's all.
Okay, Professor, any comments on the
Well, the only thing
vaccination?
I go say very quickly, say let God be the big doctor for this medicine here all over the world. Because when be the doctor, where the show them people they have for do this year, so I think say now go help we, let God let me help we all, and let God make now say let this year let it slack small. So now that no more me get for same.
Yeah, thank you so much. Mr. George Walker, they asked me, oh, thank you for the compliment, George. You say I look like $1 million today. Oh, wow. Yeah. Thank you. I blush. Humbly, I say thank you. Yeah, but then he asked me, do I have any side effects? The vaccine, I took it, me and be heavy. because I took it right here on my left arm, because the hand one not use much. So I take it on my left arm, and like little bit in the evening, my arms were heavy. I get heavy. I don't get no fever or nothing. It was just heavy. You just they feel like you're painful. So I took Tylenol and it went away. And then the next day I got it back. But after that, I don't get no other reaction. I took it on Friday, no Thursday. I think on Thursday. And another viewer, Mr. Mustafa Connor, he say he don't pre-register, but in the area they're going slow for somebody less than 50. Yes, then they go slow for people less than 50, but we are President Biden in America don't say by May everybody will able to get access to them. Yes, people they don't pre-register, but I got mine from the VA. From the Veterans Affairs, the United States Veterans Affairs. They called us, say they don't get vaccination. At first they were doing, by age, they mean they in the 70s. So I told them, yes, I want the vaccine. So they sent out a message, say the vaccine is available. It's on first come, first serve, walking privilege. So I'm 57, so I took it, I got it. So, it is going to come eventually to everybody. They get different types of the vaccine manufacturer. So, but, we all, like our professor say, na God na the best, but, we get for use wisdom for preserve ourselves, for try for protect ourselves, because now so then they make them long-term vaccine them, whether they give for the hard mentality, for the whole, for preserve people them. That's why they vaccinate people, so that we go preserve one another, and we not go, even if it camper, we body don't already get, the blueprint say, yes, this virus don't count, or this germ don't count, or this bacteria, then it go into the mitochondria, it send the B cells go attack. That's what they do. They put in those cells into us, those things into us that's going to, build immunity. And then when the vaccine come, we'll not go sick and most likely die from it. 100% proof, kind of whatever, but it better at least 90% we get a chance for survive if we're attacked by the vaccine. But coronavirus is here. But let we left down there, let we come to another topic. We see a very, very, very great man of the continent of Africa, John Magufuli of Tanzania, died 10 days here. And speculations they go around say he died of the coronavirus. But and at one man down they would not been believing the coronavirus. But it is not official, because some people say he died of a heart attack. He was only 61 years old, man. So rest in peace. But we want to talk of his memories. We want to talk of the work where he do. We want to hear the good things of this man, because it transformed a country that was down the barrel and bring her up. And this is what, some people say, oh, we go to America. Well, we don't get an African president. We're transforming country. We have nothing but good things, the things that we do. And there's a video going around where you see people and they cry. When they cry, the country mourns his death, because he made the change that the people, for better the people in life, and that one day now we all the thing. Let we listen to Patrick Lumumba quick. Patrick Lumumba make a thing, because this is a man that fights, a voice against corruption, a voice against the corruption in African nations. And this man here, with President BOA come and he fight against corruption, he pay up to $70,000 for this man for can teach with people them about corruption, for can talk to with people that what in corruption they do, and for can encourage and charge with people and say, let us get away from that practice. But we go can to the corruption side. Did that effort go in vain? Did that effort where President Bio spend this boku money for fight corruption? We get for can talk about corruption. But now we hear waiting Patrick Lumumba talk of John Magufuli na in waiting and call. Just a 2 minutes to not be with Chris Molo. Listen quick. Go ahead.
Taxes that would have gone to the health sector, taxes that would have gone to infrastructure, taxes that would have gone into agriculture. John Pombe Magufuli is a breath of fresh air. I know that there are some Tanzanians who may think that he's disrupting their agenda. John Pombe Magufuli disrupt their agenda. For if you come into a country and you find a patient suffering from cancer, you've got to subject them to chemotherapy. And when you administer chemotherapy, the hair will fall out a little. There will be some pain. That pain is necessary because there is no gain without pain. I'm not a Jewish prophet nor related to one. I'm not a member of CCM. But if John Pombe Magufuli continues on this trajectory and has a second term, in the next 10 years, Tanzania will be one of the largest economies in this country. God save John Pombe Magufuli. You know, I was reading a tweet and some American is saying, bring us John Pombe Magufuli. And I was in Kenya and I said at one time that we need to Magulify Kenya. In other words, there is a sense in which a new English word can be found, the Magufulification of Africa. In fact, I dare say that even my own paper, instead of calling it a call for hygiene in African politics, I would say the Magufulification of Africa. And I would still be right. But the whites say that one swallow does not make a summer. There are other good examples in Africa of the beginning of the introduction of political hygiene. Ian Khama in Botswana. Ian Khama in Botswana, it is said that a minister in his government went to him and said, I've been named in a scandal, Your Excellency, help me. He told him, there is nothing that I can do. The individual went to his rural home. The following day, it is reported that he had committed suicide. I'm not a sadist, nor do I intend to be one, but if there are such individuals, I want more suicides.
Magulufied Africa. That means that everybody, he's a breath of fresh air. Mr. Shilon, take it, sir. Then, Professor, you can go too. Let's just hear this about this great man. Let's just give him, may his soul rest in peace and may his memory be a blessing. And like I've been being live, may the next woman we don't take over. Waiting for one as president. When I'm the acting president right now, the transition was easy and smooth, no fighting, and then we don't get a woman. We don't sit on her in place right now. So that is a good sign. That is a good signal. We pray, then continue for do that, and we pray we all leader them, the one that waited now and the one them for come, copy the example of breath of fresh air, for purge the system and try for be push go before for the world go better. So I pass on to you, Mr. Shilon, sir.
All right, ma'am. Ms. Fatima, thank you very much. Yeah, as Professor Lawyer Lumumba just said, this was before Magufuli died. This was before in re-election, which will take place last November, I think, or early this year. I think it was in November, when the professor would make that speech day. And so what do we know? We really get for be cautious, because sometimes we need to understand that if you praise a leader or if you give credit to a leader, it's almost like when you did college. If you get an A, doesn't mean you score 100%, because a 95, a 90 will still give you an A. But anybody who know about grading system will know if you make an A, you must be very good at what you make the A pan. So it would be unfair to say, well, not a smart person, but going to get 100. So it would be a mistake if in Africa we look for the minuses of this man, because with the area for say, oh, the corona kill him, the COVID kill him because he not be believing him. Okay, I am not so clear as to whether or not be believing her as much as he not be believe in the treatment that was being given to the virus in the West. But that said, even if that was the case, there is something still wrong and suspicious about this man in dying. And this is just speculation. And sometimes, if some things seem logical, it may be reasonable to assume certain things. It's like if you are walking on the side of the road, somebody can pass in a car at 120 miles an hour. Then you say, down the road, way beyond your sight, some speeding car, they'll bang some other motor car and kill people them. It's reasonable to assume that another car will pass you at 120 miles an hour and end up get the accident down the road. There's nothing unreasonable about that. But it may be that car, not to him involved in the accident, now another vehicle. But even though you may be wrong in your assumption, the question becomes, is it reasonable to have assumed without seeing the site of the accident, without being able to identify the motor car involved in the accident, whether another car will pass you to 120 miles at 120 miles speed? So I'm using this example for make we understand. Even if Magufuli was killed by corona, or it disputes the efficacy and the seriousness of the disease, it is just so the suspicion that we all have, some of us, and this has not only happened to Magufuli, it happened to the president, the late president of Ethiopia, Meles Zenawi, who was on the same trajectory, trying to develop Ethiopia, resisting loans, challenging the West, challenging the IMF, refusing loans from China. At age 57, he's sick. All of a sudden, boom, he was dead. We know examples of people like Sankara of Guinea-Bissau were engaged in progressive ideas, one for free of this bondage of loan, not being able to do anything for ourselves and insisting on manufacturing away on land. Now Africa Day, boom, Sankara was dead at a very young age. We know Colonel Gaddafi of Libya, who was very vocal. And these are the progressive African leaders, then way vocal, where they take issue internationally. Gaddafi has this great ambition and vision for Africa, for level progress. We know what happened to them. Now, you put the examples here on the one hand, and this may all just be coincidences. But then you think about President Trump deny corona. He say, believe in him, and find a minor thing, it will go away. He's still alive. Boris Johnson of England and deny corona. He himself not believe in that, even though he end up catching him. But he's still alive, and even President Trump, according to the information, he caught corona, he's alive. The Brazilian president, he never believed in corona, he's still alive. So why is it that now we own them, and particularly at a young age? It's just so coincidental that when they oppose or they cry out for, say, it's time we begin to manage women affair and take control of our destiny, all of a sudden, it's waiting and not believing, then get small headache, then die. Then get small stomachache, then die. And the irony is, if you look at the events around the world, leaders don't die that easy in office, worldwide. Hardly you go find leaders where just die because from the leadership. One time they happen. And why is it happen more now we own part of the world than other part of the world? Now, the points they want to raise now for let we just open our minds. So it's very simplistic for let we just say, oh, we believe in corona. So it die, and that it die off. And let we open our mind for say other parts of the world, we'll get leaders then we not be believing that, then still then get top treatment. And we know say Magufuli as president of a nation, he will have had top treatment for whatever ailments may be. And so we therefore just take that into account when we talk about watching people and die of, watching people and die of. The other point I want to make, we are also anxious, forget the leaders them. We put country before personal wealth. We want leaders them. We put country ahead of family affair. We take the thing of governing or the practice of governing very seriously. Every now and then, we get them kind of leaders in there. But sometimes, some of them along the way get overly ambitious and they can buck them foot and for them. A classic example, most of we will be too young, but I was old enough to get some understanding, was Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana. He was the most renowned, more renowned. In fact, by then, that 10 and day, they talk about the Mandela, that one and they were not as renowned. And he came, well-educated, overly ambitious, had great ideas, returned home in Ghana, then start all kind of thing. But what happened? He trampled on the rights of the people, became a dictator, think saying your idea was the only idea, it was his way or no way, imprisoned other intellectuals who disagreed with him. And so, in fact, by his ambition, just like Gaddafi, he was a threat to the world. Not in reality, but he was coming up with ambitious ideas, the nuclear weapon, this kind of thing. Then so somehow, the powers to be will always challenge and say, we better slow this person down. But he became an easy target because he don't trample on young people and right so much that it was easy for those using young people in the military, and we know who are them, the powers to be, for let them overthrow him. But Magufuli was not that kind of person. Okay, the trouble is because there is accusation. Some people and say he was oppressive, but even in a democracy, particularly a growing democracy, not a democracy like England, like Canada, like America, like Australia, where you get very strong historic political institutions. We are building ours in all over Africa. And we see what a strong political institution can do. We just recently go in America through an election, or we get a president where one turn the system upside down. And what we learn? We learn for say, educated people are not always to be trusted. Because we see where even in a nation like the United States, we'll get somebody like Bill Barr, the Attorney General under Trump, who was willing to do anything for corrupt the system. We see how educated people appointed to the CIA. We see how senators they align themselves with Russia and other things. We see all of that. So what in that tell we for the land from that? For say education alone is not enough. But this country survived that. Why? Because they had strong political institutions. Even when the Senate decide for compromise in power and yield to the executive, the court system stood firm. If it were not for the court system, if it were not for institutions like the press, a free press, America will have become another Russia, North Korea. just because of one man's ambition. But the system stood up to him. But in Africa, we don't get that. In most countries, in almost all the countries. So when you try for building institutions in there, you go trample on a few rights in the interest of the country. So that kind of a trampling there is more forgiving than the one that would trample on people's rights just for thief, just for get an advantage. We're not to the interest of the country. So now Magufuli, I'm sorry if I keep mispronouncing your name. This was a man where they against China, the loan with the Africa and the policy, where then they attached to that. He turned down as much as $10 billion from China. You know, this was a president who did not travel at all. He was within the country because he tried to save the country money. This was a president where even where independent anniversary they come, like what we on the come. He said we don't need for celebrate the anniversary. The government, people can do it individually, but the government don't need for spend money on that because the country need the money. This is a man who developed the infrastructure of the country at such a rapid pace. Subway trains, you know, hydroelectric power, all kinds of things that are in people development of or expansion and upgrading of the Nyerere airport, you know, and so many other things. So corruption, when it comes at UN meeting, at a time when people who get leaders, they will come and they bring 30, 40, 50 delegates. He brings no more than 10. At a time when we lead other African leaders in the top now, the 1,000, 1,500, $2,000 a night hotel room, he gets all the people in for stop now hotel in America where you know they charge more than $150 a night, all in the interest of the country. Okay, so now who will appreciate a leader like that? And so William's point is, I don't want to point fingers. Just by watching at the mention, we can decide from William, but it's good for rich conclusion. So if Magufuli now do one or two things right, I don't think Africa is asking for an angel to be president of any of them country. We want somebody who just put country first. And by all accounts, what we know of this man, he was as good as they come. And it was the kind of leader that Africa is not going to see that frequently, that often. You know, now one thing with the student kind of a leader, like Adam get Jerry Rawlings, na Ghana. Anybody who know anything about Jerry Rawlings, never amass wealth. In fact, not amass, he not even get not to be wealthy man at all till he die. Okay, he was an effective leader. Country was his primary concern. Ghana not get to where Ghana they even Ghanaians then go dispute that because some of them they look at from tribal standpoint. This and that. But when you look at it from a nationalistic point of view, this man did extraordinary things for Ghana. We made Ghana day outside and day so today. You know? So we, for work towards having leadership like that, sometimes I hear some of the things I believe say everything President Bio advocated before he kind of power, he mean them. I think he had the best of intention. And I say that because I don't think he would have tried to make a fool of himself by just going to get, pay Lumumba to come and give, talk to the country or open a commission of inquiry. The problem is the temptation in government with weak institutions, financial temptations, are so massive within the country. In addition to that, you get temptation coming in from abroad. because the Western people they know weakness. They know say we're anxious for take bribe. So that temptation, they come in. So when we don't condemn all the one that will be did, then we see when we come into power, then we see how much money and how much wealth from timber to diamond. Because if you ever be a corrupt president, one shipment of diamonds, or I don't know, can make you worth hundreds of millions of dollars. So when you begin to see that enormous power there and access to wealth, unless you are well grounded, you will become corrupt. This is what we face in most African countries. It's easy for the opposition to condemn. And when they get in, they lack the fortitude, the courage, determination, the principle to fight against the temptation of corruption. Because you're not fighting corruption when you weaken the laws of any type. When you make laws, then wait for be weakened, and laws are made to be effective. But with the past law, like Sierra Leone, for undermine other laws, like I still maintain, say, like the Local Government Act. Somebody needs to tell me what good does it do as against what existed before. How do you explain how a local government minister, the minister of local government, he alone can override what in a district council or a mayor, and in council they agree on? One person, the idea go override an elected group of people. What is the purpose of that kind of law? If not for promote corruption, or what is the effect of such a law, even if the purpose was not for that? So these are some of the things then we will be mindful of. So good leadership, when we see them, now Africa in particular, as much as we want good leadership, we for embrace them, we for talk about them, like for saying that we own country to take place. And we for talk about them, like we leaders, they know say, we serve the sea. So we not decide other people than now. We see good Africans, them, where they run their country. You know, where they do extremely well. Where then GNP, the standard of living, they improve. So all what you made us see in Sierra Leone, with even with the best of intentions, there are no practical foundations in place that will even touch corruption. Because corruption in Sierra Leone is like a cancer where it spread. When the cancer does spread, it's all over. So if there is a chance for even revive the situation, we are fooling ourselves if we just target First Lady, we just target members of parliament, we just target, in fact, some group, then they will corrupt, we don't target them at all, like the judiciary. And so we left them, then they get away. And if we allow that, we're not fighting corruption. We're just victimizing certain people who indeed are corrupt, as if others are not corrupt. So if we want to address the issue of corruption, we need to start from every level. Every level. When you get hired, part of the orientation for be against corruption. Just like in this country, as soon as you become a nurse, a lawyer, an accountant, a teacher, then get basic ethics and standard and policy where they say you cannot violate. Even the schools there now, what you say, if you're a teacher, you know, for fall in love with your student. Okay? These are all things that would help society. So if you're a lawyer, you can't grab and represent two people who get opposing issue on the same matter. So there are a lot of things, but when we want to run a country, we want to shortcut the process. We now want to put policies in place and abide by them. And when we get a country where we think, say, if you go a certain school, like the school where the president go, if I hire more people from that school there than the rest of the country, I just wonder what kind of thinking is that? Because if that's the case, you don't need for worry for be president of a country. Just be president of a high school or of a locality. But if you're going to be president of a country, you can't. I mean, there are many schools. We all come SALONE say we know say there are many good schools in Sierra Leone. So there is absolutely no justification to hire somebody just for the fact that una go the same school. If any president implement that, the country will never see anything good. And I know why a president will feel more secure to hire more people who come in school. People where you don't even know, just because they go in school, you know? So I'm just analyzing it in the sense of this Tanzanian president we just recently passed. And we're also for land. When you get good laws in place, you see how smooth the transition was. No upheaval, no ala. In fact, I think in the recent election, where this man may just win, there was some suspicion that, he get 86% of the vote. Well, if you know the work way they do, and the work we do for a country, and the amount of employment we do create, and the amount of people who live from poverty to middle class, you will not be surprised. You know, it sounds unbelievable, but there are facts to back that. So we are looking forward and hoping and praying. So like I say, Sierra Leone's president, I think he had the best of intention, but he is not able to swim against the tide with the come at him, you know, because it's not easy. As I always say, running government is not a child's play. It's serious business. And if you take it seriously, you go upset people, you go upset relatives, you go upset friends, because once you get for make them know say, you not did it for their own benefit, you did it for the country. For now, that's all I got to say.
Thank you so much. That was a lengthy one, but full of so much information and so much, stuff. And this is a voice of wisdom. We for copy the right thing, for put laws in place. And this was an honorable man. And would I get sense by what Mr. Shilon don't talk so, una go pick him. It talk something them word inside word. Would I get sense? It go pick and what he say, because he asked the question, why the one them where they stand against the oppressors of the world, the world powers. It can just be a coincidence. Is it really a coincidence, or is there something else to it? So you think for yourself, think that is how we should be thinking, and we for try for. That's how we emancipate ourselves from them people how they hold where they get over we. This was a great man. And Professor, I want you add anything else where you want to add for this great man, this late man in memory, and think them well for take from and try for go before and push Africa before.
Well, actually, in association with the remarks of we distinguished colleague Yana, and thanking her very sincerely from the very deep roots of my humble being. All I want for crave that for I want commend the rapid transition which take place to just remind me of the United States. In particular, it remind me of November 22, 1963 in Dallas, Texas. Immediately, they pronounced John Fitzgerald Kennedy dead. Lyndon Baines Johnson take the oath of office before he even jumped the Air Force One, meaning that Ingo as vice president, he bring Mr. Kennedy as president, Inca as president. A rapid transition will take place. So the hope is this new lady we don't take over. Let God make continue the Democratic Party. Let it also continue for make sure say in all live ostentatious and opulent lifestyle where they far in excess of illegitimate earnings, and let it make sure say the well-being of the citizens. This will be a fundamental concern. But above all in power for be derived from the supremacy of the constitution, because at the constitution I put on the him being a vice president, at the constitution elevator. So at all times, let he respect the supremacy of the law when at the constitution, let he put the country before. And as Mr. Shillon don't talk of the when they know I don't know how they call it, I mean put out this transmog whatever it is. This is the one side the way English don't feel me.
Transmogrification. Transmogrification.
Yes. So it remind me of Nkrumahism. So for a very long time, when Nkrumah don't come out, the Nkrumah don't come out, don't get another apostle. We say they don't come with it. Let God get a good road. Let God make it enter into eternal rest. Yeah, whatever they call it. This is one time this English don't fail me. So let God get eternal rest. And let the new leader back to you guys.
Well, until I hear Kutubu say the English don't fail him. Una always say Kutubu de big English. So this not the Mugulify Africa, Mugulism, whatever we call them, potatoes. But example, name, Boku people they say let Africa follow down there and we go in the right direction where we need for go. And that is the new president, of Tanzania, Madam Samina Suluhu Hassan. That's the new president, a woman power, and this now Women's Month. So I mean, we don't once let it die, but woman don't kind of power, and we pray to God he left a legacy where history will always remember for good. Okay, before we go to the main topic, let's go to one more quick topic. I see then there's a bunch of people graduate from FBC and a bunch of people then graduate from the law school where Sierra Leone gets. But I get 3 people, them, many women and they among them, but I just get 3 when are personal to me, when dear to my heart. And I just want to give a shout out. They became lawyers. They become lawyers. They go into the bar association. They go declare them as lawyers and pronounce them as lawyers. And one such person, and one of them una see with the little Pekin and husband, and that's Mrs. Jariatu Karim. She became a lawyer, now a full-fledged lawyer in a salon. If not, they look for new lawyer them, and they are all women. I'm giving a shout out to Mrs. Jaria Karim, and another one is Miss Rekiatu Ibigonke Savage. Which Reiki self become a lawyer. It don't be a full-fledged. They don't accept another bar of Sierra Leone law, and himself a lawyer. And another person is Madam Kadiatu Ibrahim. These are just 3 ladies I want to give shout out to because they work hard and study hard, and we pray they become the change. They become the voice of the future of Sierra Leone, because lawyers them get a voice and they get a role for play for the progression of a country. And we pray to God that the wisdom of God there over them with the knowledge, because knowledge, when you get wisdom, is useless. You can get all the knowledge, but if you don't know how to apply them with wisdom for let it produce something good for the world and for mankind, then it's useless. But more power to them and all the other graduates that will graduate law school and any other schools in Sierra Leone. We know say, very, very, very proud of them all, and shout out to women power, more women. And this week, we see na SALONE 2 then do a woman 2-day program, 2-day workshop for advocate for women, and they try for make law where women themselves go able to sit down side by side for make decisions of issues that pertain to women. Because for the longest time we know say then they know take we like nothing, they not take like equal, but women's rights is civil rights, and then they push forward. So to the administration, I say kudos. So with that said, let me go to the main topic of today. The main topic of today, with the talk of the corruption allegation against the basic education minister hiring process. That is Dr. David Senge versus a gentleman where they work with the education, Mr. Joseph Sano. Mr. Joseph Sano come up with an audio video where he showed the process, and he say Dr. David Senge, when the Minister of Basic and Primary Education, they hire in border law for let it be part of it. And we all know, say, sometimes they get the thing what they call conflict of interest. And even where then side they are where we day, then side they are where we day, we get law. If they make lottery of them, they make any contest, or if they make anything and they tell you, say, your family members or anybody we connected to you not for apply, because what you do, then they try for prevent partiality, then they try for prevent favoritism, then they try for present nepotism, all that kind of stuff. Then they where go give you fumble upper hand just because of thing. So we see Mr. Sono express in concern and in complaint. It taken to World Bank, because World Bank now be the sponsor of this project where they push quality education, free education, President Bureau free education. So we go can watch the video where Mr. Sano doing presentation and talk all waiting in concern and say they hire somebody illegally when I in the brand law or the brother-in-law of David Senge when the minister. So then the minute we see President Bio fire Mr. Sano. Joseph Sano was fired by the president because they deal with education, he get job where they help with education, and you go hear from the Minister of Education, the representative where come, counter in statement. We go hear where talk say the man is a good man, he don't work for the Minister of Education, he don't do a lot of projects, so he's an expert in the field. So we want for talk on this because we bring it at the table because it's making a bunch of noise on social media. And David Senge is a young man, it's a man that is promising to, the future of Sierra Leone. But we asking the question, what went wrong? What is going wrong? Waiting with a see they happen, it's not, it's not giving a good, picture of to the world. And so, but we go play both audios. Let una judge for una self. Then I go get me panelists them. Let them self join in. Me co-host them. Let them self join in and put their own sense to this, because this thing I kind of get connection to the people involved. To the minister. So I mean I go talk, but I go put on to the other one them, because let them not say I talk because partial or whatever I be. So I go pass on to the two panelists them that then go talk much on this, because this is not a good sign. It is not a good way. If not so it be, if not so they make it be, they not make David Senge look good at all. He is not looking good at the media, to the people of Sierra Leone, and we been get hope. Say as a young man, it will push we to the direction where we forgo. So now we pass to the team. Let them play the first Mr. Sano in your video first. Then we go put the response of the ego long small bit when I go be away. But let just listen small, because I want to get the word them from the horse's mouth. I know want to get from we. Let keep an open mind, because don't you hear about a lot of negative things there. Because the same corruption that we talk of, the president pay money, he pay beaucoup money for we go fight corruption. He don't pay for commissions of inquiry. He don't pay Lumumba for camp, Patrick Lumumba camp. He they do it get ACC. He don't increase the ACC the budget just for fight the corruption. So, but when I listen for we save waiting at this accusation where Mr. Joseph Sano can with, and then the president fire him, and then we see the minister, the Ministry of Education, the old spokesman come out and give it their own. So let we go.
National project coordinator. Now, if they for control that money, for plan that money, for supervising this project becomes a success. Una look up, see there they talk about people that they see as bad person. But by tomorrow, I don't bring them down, I don't know the wish you for. But by tomorrow, whether money, anything will happen to them. I'm not going to know if I'm possible, in any government. Il est quand il tombe avec ça, pour avoir au projet. Project in America. Now project is the go-to. Now not for proof though. Accountant. Now accountant work. Now accountant they become a national project coordinator. No. No go. Maybe I don't go. A work nurse account officer. Let's say work as account officer. Nothing no. So because I work as account officer, I follow being project manager. Now only when you get boxing where they do the purchasing, where they control that, now you will do the kind of. You can't make an account officer a project manager. President, you have so many people that were competent. They will be able than going for the 100 minister and 100 permanent secretary because the permanent secretary wants satisfied minister, they don't make account officer all that kind of position. When we money point tomorrow, then when people let tell you, most of the time we civil society now we they get headache. Most of you will either go defend government or go criticize government. So if you go defend government and think that they do not bad, you don't take headache. Every day now Panadol in the back. So now that's the one for we. Because me as far as I'm concerned, what if you want to condemn me, I'll go any government when that will praise when see the education and they support her and they work with her. But during the process, if I identify any error, right, the secret no be secret, if you not change that, what I tell you internally. Head of pension, not to pension will go here. Account officer, not what I know want. Benefit officer, no, not to that. Officer in charge, not to policeman or president. So these are it. Account officer, go let us see. If I lie about this man, inspector. They work for a best commercial bank. So this is the CV of army. This is the CV of army. Not that hater. Not that hater. Not that I said it. I met them one-on-one. I said, do ya, for the sake of President and free quality education, find somebody with competence. If you brother, you are a minister, brother, you can find other sides from. My brother, from my brother over 7 years, another home. Now me go make a director na that score. Acha. I say go start from the bottom. Fair order of his poster. It starts. Then I will get power. Where go the class? They are needing money. So I go start. Then you have to pass through the grounds and fight. So no can power. We say because they don't make me minister, we will make the people we close down the team them, we will give them project, we will give them whatsapp, we will plan President Joe in government. So what I do, open this report so that I will cannot say when I want to. That's just open this report. But I have documents I'm going to give you. Because I'm not saying man. So I am going to show you something, give you 2 more things and then I'm done with you. One, I will show you on the slide. The other one, I won't show you on the slide. I will just explain to you so that you will understand. Yeah. The interview report. For one hour, no okay, but me don't work for over 25 years. I taught for 4 years. Me not TC. Me I'm not get up to. Me not to professor. Me not TC. Before I go read accounting, before I come out, I go read. I go study IT. Before I don't come out, then also I go read telecom. Before I run challenge my brother Anna for become a lawyer. So that's small. But what you don't learn, the experience will not go preaching. Now, and when you do, I want to show now the individual report going now because for analyze that we not need to see how the crew can identify. But anyway, let's show now this is don't worry. Come on. Because you guys are worried. We started late. Now everybody the rest. Number 1. This interview report. This interview report. When we get 7 people that went for sign up. When you write interview, 7 us don't show. Everybody don't take grade. Go don't put everything pen and paper. When we don't, we dey go sit down, call, we dey do a final interview review report. One day sit down and they will bring the grades all together with the check out. They will write one single report. We'll write the single report, we all the right to name Joseph Salon, which are the book, the signature, the date. Imagine this man that worked in the Ministry of as permanent secretary for so long. This is the report. Who that will know that his signature is? Who that will know that his signature is? Who that will know that his signature is? Imagine when people want to be corrupt, then they go and deliberately. Then they go and deliberately. This man, Mr. Banya, the PS, by right for right, DWS Banya, Senior Permanent Secretary, Minister of Education, then you sign, you get up. That's what they're observing for him. But because they don't plan and say, then as his man, and they will keep back. So what did they do? Instead of 7 man sign, now 1, 2, 3 sign. So that means that interview, now word and fake. If one bank encourages, I will tell one bank say they are aiding and abetting corruption. If one bank do that, if DC do that, I will tell them say they are aiding and abetting corruption. If Irish do that, I would highly protest against them. If EU do that, Tom Ben will never do that, because in a meeting when Tom Ben go and I ask, he says, is it true that na Senate bro the Lord and they say yes. Now the man back, now the commander is not talking. Now, what did they do? You know that time? My wife and even the water, PFM menu, Abubakar, and then Banya. The rest, they're not shy. They rush with them, and they go. So now go out and do that. That shows us some small mistake. No. I look there, that shows us. Now the people in this way do this deal. Now which side they show? And I invite them all though. I invite them all. And they just no. You see how they do this for shit. So if you look at the interview with the individual report, if you don't see the fake, don't work. The fisher at that time they wait once you know they watch waiting them. Don't work. Some pages I want to answer. Now showing the other fraud there. I want to ask, when you add this, you know, when you the thief, now quickly the thief, the mistake they can do. And don't tell that this one single mistake, the whole time, invalid. This will be 56.4. They will change that to 54.6. So the man, if we don't be nice, he never will change. Look at the checker. Where check 7 plus 15 plus this, they give you 56.4. Then they will make up 54.6 because they will try for you. Check out my if I lie, when I say I lie. Then when government come up here, when I look now, 66.8, 66.4. Now which one they for not to this? This night after go up now show everything and do. When they come, they put this one 7, they put this one 6. So when you look at that, this one for there and this one there. Because you're still in the rush. Everywhere they do not rush. Go. So now, we get a lot of abnormalities now. A lot of abnormalities now. And where I show World Bank this, they write letter to Mr. Banya. You know what he do? He go there and say, we are not make that shape. This bubble, when I talk to this bubble, they don't give it. That called Amaswa and some few other. Now they say they don't agree. Then they will stand because of the government, because of the president flagship. Now I say, well, you guys are not helping the president flagship. Because if you begin for pull, if Joseph are not pull in and go. They have my records. If I don't want to take money, I'll not do project. Then nobody's not sorry for me. I'm challenging the public. If I don't take money, I'll not do project. I'm not sorry for me. So what did they do? So when Godman comes, he's speaking there, he comes in. Now them go, that whole interview report on the top. The next thing the man do, they go after they meet, they don't meet few of them. Now they go write report. They say everybody don't agree, say the individual report and the final sheet report now the same. So now I say below they don't sign and approve of her. Now I say I'm to World Bank. So where I go, World Bank, no, and see they don't know about it. Now I say, no, this is wrong. This, I said, look at it. This is the paper that was on the interview date. I said, this is another fraud by the permanent secretary. That permanent secretary, Mr. Andrew Tucker, Director General of Civil Servant, that man should not be in that seat by now. That man should not be at that seat by now. He should not. Go to recommendation. That's not wrong. Because I don't even want to do the other things. I'll give you this. What do we recommend? We recommend an independent review of vetting of the documents submitted by candidate for the national project coordinator position. We recommend that. Then we also recommend an independent committee that comprises of donor partners and a trust for the trusted civil society activists in the education sector or government sector. So it will not be get somebody with proper when not go there. Because when they go again, because one time done right there, and they do now all their evidence say they don't withdraw. Even when they withdraw, the man is no objection. You know, say February they pay, but already they send letter for withdraw. Still the permanent secretary pay, but that money I get for change for them. Let me that money. Yeah. If you still there at the office, now this time apart now, when World Bank say for set an independent committee. Now the time now I see the answer out, they say they will stay aside. Now, and if you know the job, then therefore go set a committee, committee, they say, oh, for this name of the government, for the name of President Bill, what told you? If President Bill not say somebody they do something, not right, he go call him. He say, what is your interest? What is wrong? You're not just an employee like me or any other person, or citizen like me or any other person. Would the board lies with the President Bill? Why you can't dance past the man when we get that? Because what they want to do, they go for camp. They all don't strategically place people in a position of trust. They forget about people that already they suffer for them. And the same thing that bring education. When I tell them, say, me say not they bring education. So if they don't put us in there, then radio. Then we want to produce the original copies of all attendance lists in all steps of the entire interview, a recruitment, technical evaluation report, interview report, and individual balance score sheet. So the vetting team and deal strategy. Me, I want them. And then you know, me, I want them. The original. They say all documents for recruitment process be made available to donor because the donor partners individual analyst report. When I say I gonna buy the pass, it take that now in house in ground. But this you know get up. But I'm inside. Recruitment team should provide evidence for all due diligence undertaken in the process. No due diligence is not adapted. Let them provide that. Recruitment for donor funded project opportunity project should be directly monitored by donor partners. From advertisement through to evaluation and interview. Let the donor partner they tell you know this country will respect with man, and let the respect of money and matching me. Hence you dollar right.
Okay, another hear small bit, but most of the thing them where Mr. Sana don't talk about, but what thing happened during the process of hiring Mr. Degibenge in Borden law. Now the thing and which is a violation is a conflict of interest. And I know say me panelists they don't hear me two co-hosts they don't hear. I know say we get beaucoup for say about that. But let's just do now 1 minute. Let's just talk quick about something. Then we can play the response of the minister education, their own side of the story. So let's give una quick. Let's have inside. What you una think so far? What you una hear so far?
Well, for me, my concern is the gentleman having said what he said. I am trying to be very methodical in me criticism or objection. So if there is we cannot allege conflict of interest just because Senge get a brother-in-law. I think we'll therefore be able to establish that get participation in the hiring process, and that use undue influence for give preference, because the allegation is one thing, the proof is another. So, and we need to give benefit of the doubt to Senge. In fact, this is one instance in which a lot of times, to be honest with you, we could have sent a letter to Senge himself and say, these allegations, as you well know, are out there. So what's your position? Now, if he fails to respond, well, like with the broadcaster, we have all right for characterizer whichever way we feel, because we don't get an opportunity to respond. My hesitancy right now is that the allegations are against probably most likely for nepotism sound may be true, but I don't know if there is reason to believe that he had anything to do with the hiring, or that he used undue influence or pressure for his brother-in-law to get the job. I don't know. And if none of that happens, I'm not so sure just because he's a minister, his family nor can go through the regular. In fact, I don't think just because you relate to a minister, that would disqualify you from applying for a job that you think you qualify for. Now the ministry way to run, because I don't think that would be conflict of interest if he had nothing to do with the hiring and if you qualify for the job. So I mean, difficult to this. I don't know how to place it. The gentleman makes a strong case, but I just don't know how that implies or prove for, say, Senge has anything to do with it. And you know me, I'm against corruption massively, but I believe in giving them due process too. Yeah, I'm in position, Andy. I think you're muted.
Yeah, that's the voice of a lawyer right there. He get for weigh all sides before making in judgment. And we get a tape where the Ministry of Education come out and give their own side of the story. But then we get a letter from the World Bank within the law the law it come with. But let we go to Professor Quick. Just give me a quick 1 minute thing of what you know so far before we come back.
To be honest with you, I rather prefer not for talk on this matter for one reason, that America didn't get come out. You know, say when you they go look for a job, then they ask you if you get any relative in other places. That one question that they will ask you. Once you say yes, then that's something else. Okay. I rather prefer not for talk about this saying you don't hear me very loud and clear, which I talk about. So you guys will not come up for me.
Yeah, I know Professor put out an audio of these days where he really talk against waiting and do so and all that. But we go come to that. Let we listen quick to the representative from the Ministry of Basic and Primary School Education. Let we hear you waiting in say about all this thing. Don't go. We will read the letter from the World Bank, quoting the World Bank, then say go with. So let we go with that audio there. This is courtesy of Sierra Network, AAA the group. So let we go, please.
Fellow citizens, my name is Brahma Michael Toure, a Deputy Director in the School Broadcasting Unit of the Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education and a member of the Communications Unit of this ministry. Over the last several weeks, you may have been privileged to listen to allegations of corruption in a hiring process brought against the Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education by a certain Joseph Sano, the Executive Director of an establishment called Hill Sierra Leone, which is working and has been working in education for quite some time. Sano's allegations were centered on the manner in which a particular individual was hired for the position of project coordinator for a project financed by a multi-donor trust fund. But without delving too much into the details of his allegations, let me use this moment to bring to the wider world our own side as a Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education. Our ministry works with multiple partners to promote the education sector and enhance quality in our education system. From time to time, specific partners would fund specific projects in the Ministry of Education based on their mandate and institutional values. Currently, the government of Sierra Leone, through the Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education, is supported with a $70 million project financed through a multi-donor trust fund that is managed by the World Bank. This project is called the Sierra Leone Free Education Project, and it is intended to support the government's free quality school education over the next several years. As in all projects, this project would need staff to manage it under the supervision of the Ministry of Education. For this reason, the Public Finance Management Unit, PFMU, in the Ministry of Finance, which is the project fiduciary agent, floated an advert in the local newspapers on the 11th of August 2020 for the position of a project coordinator for this project. All the 60 applicants who initially applied for this position submitted hard copies and or electronic versions of their applications and curriculum vitae or resumes directly to the Public Finance Management Unit for vetting and shortlisting. The PMFU, in turn, after thoroughly vetting these applicants, shortlisted only 14 of the applicants for the next stage, which was the interviewing stage. The conduct of shortlisting and interviewing was broad-based and consistent with acceptable standards in compliance with guidelines in the civil service codes, regulations, and rules for recruitment of civil servants and contract staff in Sierra Leone. There is also an existing handbook containing these civil service codes, the regulations, and the rules, which is a handbook for management of the civil service by the Government Human Resource Management Office, HRMO. The panel that did the interview was drawn separately from the Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education, the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education, the Ministry of Finance, the Human Resource Management Office, and a civil society organization called Institute for Governance Reforms, IGR. The Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education was represented on the shortlisting panel by the Director of Research and Curriculum Development, Mr. Usman Kamara, and on the interviewing panel by the Senior Permanent Secretary in the person of David W.S. Banya and Mr. Amara Sowa, who is the National Coordinator for the Free Quality School Education. Scores for these interviews were independently awarded, and at the end of the process, all score sheets were submitted to the Secretariat of the PFMU for collation and report writing. It is important for the listening public to know that it was out of this rigorous, competitive, transparent, and credible process that Mr. Ambrose Tennyson Cisse emerged as the best candidate and was duly recommended by the panel for consideration by the World Bank. This subsequently led to the issuing of a no objection by the World Bank for his appointment as project coordinator on the 18th of December 2020. The Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education would like the public to know that at no point in time during the entire exercise, from the application to the shortlisting and interviewing process, was the Honorable Minister of Basic and Senior Secondary Education, David Mwenina Senge, ever present or represented or participated. Never. Not in any of those processes. Not present, not participate, not represented. It therefore comes across as ironical and inconceivably troubling for anyone to remotely insinuate that Mr. Ambrose Cisse's recruitment is shrouded in conflict of interest. But for clarity of purpose with regards rules and regulations guiding recruitment in the Sierra Leone civil service and contract staff working side by side with civil servants, Rule number 2.5D of the Civil Service Codes, the Civil Service Regulations, and the Civil Service Rules which relates to recruitment, is not specific about conflict of interest, but instead stipulates as follows, and I quote, "Selection procedures must be reliable and guard against bias, and equality of opportunity must apply throughout the recruitment process." End of quote. Our ministry would like to assure the public that all applications were diligently reviewed and shortlisting was credible and transparent. Shortlisted candidates both within Sierra Leone and abroad were given equal opportunities, even at the expense of time, to go through the recruitment process. We would also like the public to know that the recruitment handbook of the Sierra Leone Public Service Commission, the PSC, did not contain any specific provisions on conflict of interest. However, due to standard ethical practices, interviewing panelists are normally required to declare their interest, if any, and excuse themselves from the interviews. Joseph Sano is claiming that the minister influenced the recruitment of Ambrose T. Sise because Ambrose is the husband of the minister's elder sister. In all of the above process of recruitment, there is no element of conflict of interest, as alleged by Joseph Sano, because the Honorable Minister wasn't involved in the process from start to finish. Again, and just for the records, the project coordinator reports directly to the Senior Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education and not to the Minister. But in his correspondence to the World Bank, Mr. Sano also alleged that some of the panelists rejected or refused to sign the final interview report and that the interview scores were forged or falsified. We would like the public to know that as soon as the Senior Permanent Secretary received a letter from the World Bank highlighting these allegations by Mr. Sano, he summoned a meeting of all the panelists and staff involved in the recruitment process on the 28th January 2021 and presented to each one of them the score sheet on which they did their final scoring so that they could look through and verify if any part of it was tampered with or falsified. After they have each thoroughly looked at the score sheets, none was found to be either tampered with or falsified. Consequently, the Senior Permanent Secretary had each of them sign on an attestation sheet to confirm that the documents were authentic and they were in their original form. Another allegation that Joseph Sano advanced was that Ambrose Sise, who was offered the job, is the husband of the minister's elder sister and therefore it constitutes conflict of interest. Suffice it to say this is the case. The truth is, there is no law or regulation or rule within the Civil Service Code that debars even first-degree relatives of heads of institutions from working in such institutions, let alone a third-degree relative of an in-law. Sano is therefore yet to prove that there is any law substantiating his claims of conflict of interest. Mr. Sano also alleged that only 4 out of 7 panelists signed the final interview report. Again, let the listening public know that at the time the report was to be signed by all 7 people who conducted the interviews, only 3 were available, and because the document was time-bound, and if not sent on the stipulated time frame, the whole process could have been started all over again according to World Bank policies and procedures relating to recruitment process. That was why the ministry, through the PFMU, decided to send the document as it was. However, once the World Bank raised that issue after Sano's allegations, the Senior Permanent Secretary later summoned all those concerned to a meeting and had them sign an attestation denoting that they did not reject or refuse to sign the final report, but that they were merely absent at the time of signing. We want to state that we recognize the work that our brother Joseph Sano has done in education and his passion for this sector of the governance system of our country. This ministry has always supported Mr. Sano to fulfill his passion for quality education in this country. We had financed several projects that he had brought to us in the past. Our partners in education had also supported him on our behalf and upon our good recommendation of his invaluable contribution to the furtherance of quality education in Sierra Leone, and we remain firmly committed to supporting any endeavor along those lines. As a ministry that is responsible for actualizing the free quality school education program, which is the flagship program of government, we find it a bit distracting that Mr. Sano would target Minister David Senge, who had no hands in all of the processes leading to the recruitment of Mr. Ambrose Sise. If nothing else, we strongly believe that Mr. Sano could have obtained all the answers to his questions about this recruitment if he had redirected his focus from the minister to the individuals who directly handle this recruitment process. In conclusion, our ministry would like to
Sierra Leone. Yesterday he had a press conference where he accused the Ministry of Basic and Senior Education, Senior Secondary Education, for fraudulently recruiting the in-law of the minister, Dr. David Moina Senge. Joseph Sano, first off, just quickly give us an establishment or a brief overview of that particular allegation.
Okay. I am doing this because I've tried internally, and there's no internal redress mechanism.
The ministry,
yeah,
you mean?
The ministry, the government have gone everywhere.
Go ahead.
Since January, it is over 2 months, and I tried so that we can solve it. But I'm doing this because people think business should be as usual. It's simple. On the 11th of August 2020, an advert was published at various newspapers that we need a national project coordinator. And this national project coordinator, it is for a donor fund, multi-donor fund of $70 million. It is called Sierra Leone Free Education Project. So they needed somebody to head that particular wing. And this person, we work directly with the permanent secretary and the Minister of Education. They will directly supervise him. So when the advert came out, there were criteria. And they were looking at 3 basic things that was very core. They were looking at the qualification. They were looking at the skills. They were looking at the experience. So, and over 60 persons were applied, and their CVs were vetted. So 14 of them were shortlisted by an evaluation committee. But when we got the document since December, we decided to talk to the various committee members and talk to some of them that accepted talk to us. And we decided to talk to the minister and the permanent secretary and those concerned. We identify issues. So we talked to the minister, said X, Y, and Z we have identified. But he was very adamant to listen to us. We talked to the minister, to the permanent secretary. He said, go to PFMU. We went to PFMU. They said, no, forget about this, please. Let's do it internally. I said, no, but there's something. Sierra Leoneans applied that were qualified for this position. You left the ones that had the qualification and took somebody that did not have the qualification. So it's simple. It is established that, and it is no crime. Ambrose Sise, we understand, is the brother-in-law of David Senge. But that's not the gross issue we have. Although that by itself, to work in public office, to work in government office, in the same office, supervising your relation, it is morally and ethically bankrupt, but we cannot bench on that. Let's bench on something. What I want to bench on here is that, number one, the advert recruitment said you should have a master's degree in education administration, in education leadership, in economics, in statistics, in business administration, or in public administration. That is what the advert said. But what happened? What does this man have that they give? He has masters in accounting and finance. They are not related field. They also, it went all further to say, we need somebody that have handled a project of such complexity. That is, the project is $70 million, and it is a work of, it is a huge scale work. We want somebody that have handled such money, because this money is for the people of Sierra Leone. President Bio, through his wisdom, said, I want free quality education. And the donor partners have seen it. They said they want to spend that type of money. If we don't have the right people to manage that money with the right experience, with the right skill, what will happen? it will be mismanaged.
So in essence, you're saying you're raising this issue not because of the relationship between the minister and the person recruited, but because of the person did not meet the set criteria.
And they did not follow the due diligence of the... So now, because for him, whether he's his in-law, like for me, where I am at NATCOM, my brother is suffering, don't have work. There was vacancy. I say, you will not work with me. It depends on people if you work the soul to decide that my relative, my close relative, will not work with me in the same office. Because ethically, it is wrong. But however, apart from that, it also stated that, so if they say project of such complexity, that means you should have handled such. But the man has never, from his CV. Again, he said you should have been a project coordinator or a team lead for a project. And when, for 5 years experience, he has never done it. He said you should have worked in the education field, have knowledge in the education field. My dear brother, when we look at the CV of the person they shortlisted, the person I got there, he has never worked in the education sector.
Is it a personal fight for you?
No, it's not a personal fight. It is a fight of equality in terms of employment. It is a fight to save the money that donor partners are giving to President Bio and the people of Sierra Leone. We don't want to have the wrong person there and then the project is being misused, because we've seen project begin to fail from the interview, from the shortlisting to the interview. When you have the wrong person, how can you employ a store manager as a project coordinator? How can you employ a liaison officer?
Now, you said you have tried to handle this issue internally. You have spoken to different people about it. Now, how exactly did you go about, making your issues known?
So what I did was that I wrote a letter to the first, when I got it, I tried to physically talk to them. Then I said before the 11th of January, because the interview was done on the 3rd December. So I waited until after Christmas, started negotiating, talking to them. So I came now, and when I started face-to-face discussion, I said it is not yielding fruit. So on the 11th, I wrote a letter to the permanent secretary. I wrote a letter to the minister. I wrote a letter to PFMU. What I wanted to tell them that we have problem in this thing. Let us solve it internally. It is not sin. It is not error. It is not bad if we solve this thing internally without going out. I happened to meet the minister on a 2-hour meeting. When I talked to him heart to heart. That was my first time over the years he has been there, because he is normally difficult to access. So, but when I said I have this issue, so he accepted me. And that one was not like the normal procedure. I say, give me 2 weeks. So we sat down, and after I explained everything, you know what the guy said? And I will say it here. He said, my dear friend, the interview is gone. He said, and let me tell you, I did not beg for work. What I'm doing, I'm only answerable to the president here. I did not beg for work. If I don't have this work tomorrow, I will go back to MIT and lecture. Or it is your business, your government. I said, okay, because it is our government. Please, you guys will one day leave us and go back to the MIT, go back to America. Make sure you do the right thing, because you know if you do this wrong thing, the government will be blamed. So try and correct it for the sake of the government. So he did not listen. Then I moved from there. The permanent secretary, he said, go to PFMU. So I had a meeting with PFMU. And they also said, forget about it. I said, no, you cannot forget about things like this. Mm-hmm. When this money will be destroyed tomorrow, who will you blame? I am in the education sector. Do you think I'll be going to suffer myself to defend? Let us correct it now. When it is wrong, it is wrong. This is the reason why even your party members are grumbling, because they are qualified, they don't have work. I say people are suffering, and other Israelis are qualified, they don't have. Give the right man the right work. And I told the text, he's called Tex Abubakar. I told him, I say, do you know why we are failing? I said, because all contracts and all projects we do it through nepotism. Give our loved ones, give our friends, give our family, and this will not help Sierra Leone. We should stand out. And I moved from there. I wrote a letter to the Minister of Finance. Okay. Of course, he was sick, but that again did not yield a fruit. I wrote to anti-corruption. I wrote to the HRMO. I wrote to
no positive result.
I wrote. Let me tell you, I wrote to
just quickly,
the head of civil service. I wrote to Parliament. But the two things I've noticed. Ethically, when somebody writes you, you should be able to respond to them that acknowledge. Not even an acknowledgement.
So you were never counting out by all of the institutions.
Yeah. The only thing I noticed they will do is that, but this, if you do it now, government will get bad name. This. I said, no, I don't settle for such low thing. I said, this means that you guys are undermining President Bio.
So all the institutions that we write to them, they call you for Berry Sepa, left listing.
Most of them, yeah. Right. So my issue here is we have made a recommendation. The recommendation is we want an independent investigation, and during that process, we want, number one, the minister must be suspended administratively. Why? No, why? Because
it is clear.
He was told about this thing as a leader in that sector. He don't do anything, and indirectly, now he's his brother. Number two, the permanent secretary that is the chairman, because we have documents that are falsified. Must be suspended. And any government official that participated in that process
must also be suspended.
Right. So we've done that, and we are waiting for it. If they fail, then we'll bring evidence of our discussion.
The conversation does not end here. We still have to reach out to the Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education and create a platform for a very decent conversation.
Right, but this is where we'll have to draw the curtains on today's edition of Wake Up Sierra Leone. Let's take a quick reminder of our quote.
Thanks to AYV for the interview day of Mr. Sano Nadoyeri. The education media team don't come out and defend their thing and say there's nothing wrong, there's no law, no for hire you own policy. But then Mr. Sano is adamant say, number one, this brother-in-law of David Senge is not qualified for the job that meets the qualification that is required of the job, and still it don't plead all right, he don't say, and it talk of the minister David Senge make the comment say I can go, I not beg for the job, and I call me, I can go back, and this is a team that is to win for Sierra Leone, for going in the right direction of Sierra Leone. If that is true, if that comment is true, I don't think that was the right comment coming from the minister thing, because if we then are one team with a fight for win, we all foresee we safe inside the same thing. Like I say, I go excuse myself a little bit, I pass on to the gentlemen them. Let the gentlemen then take over, because this is very troubling. It is not looking good for the minister. It is not looking good. And I know say the World Bank send back, but somebody make a comment before we go further. Samura Kamara say, I think Samura Kamara will say President Bio, President Bio been getting in family member the way they work for now the administration. So what is wrong with that? That's what he's saying. So I pass on to already, Professor. I pass on to you first. There you get the first take on this, sir.
Thank you. The mere fact that they even talk of it, say they don't get any laws or whatever it is, we could talk about conflict of interest right there. That now the floodgates, that the gates not open for corruption right there. That alone a red flag, Randy. Like I already tell people them, where you then a place you look at how structures they work. In this way conversation, we already say, we said SALONE go before, God. Now 60 years of independence, you don't get so we know they won't go, we know they won't go, we just feel by HMS one place, we know they go before, we know they can be. These are the things. Anyhow, we resort to moral equivalence now. Anyhow, we say we resort to convoluted grandstanding, wrong. There is an undertone here. I can give you an example. The same thing when they accuse them, saying they do the same thing when they try for select a principal and principal school. The same thing happened. Where after the people they not settle on somebody qualified and go trade and get all the old boys and then they change the decision. No, come on, I'm a problem when again at the forum, the principal of this forum, to the point that he may not even accommodate. So now guy also he get this kind of who brings him get this kind of attitude, meaning that na ina the what you call a fountain of knowledge, that every knowledge in the world is surrounded. I'm Dr. Senge. You know, you don't go even call him by name, you get for call him Dr. Senge. But say if you been in the United States, he work for Bill Gates, like you say, or Harvard or MIT. The list and the appearance of it, the list is totally unacceptable. Except somebody live you live in what they call Alice in Wonderland, or you know a Rip Van Winkle where they sleep for 20 years. Now you know the undertone. Whatever happens at the mere fact that this thing again for be administered by the Ministry of Education and Senge, obviously none the boss. But not the fool say, but we'll see why not call white. Now in nine the boss na the place, and this now you fumble this. But thank God the man can't talk, say they're not getting no law where they talk about conflict of interest. They're not getting no law. So as far as me concerned, the mere fact that man can't talk a word like that, hey, not just now business as usual. This other side this again for make money. We can't go get say. What go get say? That man not go do anything for further that fellow in financial what a well be. Now the same fellow this way grab with him moral arrogance, he go erect something na a beach front before people them where you see the arrogance, man. The guy is just arrogant. He's very arrogant. You see one thing about him, you can study all this education, you go study in a heaven, University of Heaven, then you even beat God per examination. You can get that ability, they beat God. But what to make the difference, where you come now, humility. That's in one of the finest virtues. As I wrap up, I go remind of one of the founding fathers in this country, so Benjamin Franklin. He not go back to school. But when you talk about United States, the democracy what they enjoy today, nothing other than America, no way, not the way they talk about the founding fathers, and the way they left Benjamin Franklin out, because of humility. Now, in humility, we able to get this kind of a representative democracy where they get in America so today. Where all people like Thomas Jefferson, they care all the Cambridgeian education go, they don't know. They find a simple way through humility to solve the problem. David Sanger in greatest undoing, very arrogant, like moral arrogance, they get for one. Yes, it's a bit the book. Now you know not take up but the book not in ethical lack of ethics and things that way for let people then gravitate to them. It really they depend people that they don't want to win at the Prince of West Forum. We don't see them. They don't come on it. Just because they take issues there with them. So it seems like the be all and end all, nine the alpha and the omega, nine the fountain of knowledge. So as far as me concerned, they will send a guilty of ethical violation there, and that's where we under go do an America. Where you go for sign application or job application, we all know that. Then they ask you if you get any family member now. Then they ask you that. If you get any family member, I sign now so. Then I don't know. They do it deliberately. So I pass back to now.
Okay, Mr. Shilon, you can take it, because like I said, my heart is saddened. My heart is saddened because this is a person I've been a look to for the change where SALONE need. I've been a look up to and a kind of like, it hurts my heart to hear all these things about him, and it saddens me. It saddens me. So I'll pass on to you, Mr. Shilon, for what you take on all what you know so far.
All right. Number one, I wish we'd be listening to Mr. Sano in tape before the government side, because everything can happen for being reversed. Now, my earlier comments as to due process and David Senge and lack of evidence will not have been made had I heard what Mr. Sano they talk about, because Mr. Sano revealed some more or come up with some more disclosures we get a better understanding of the situation. He talk about, first of all, there is a flaw, FLAW, flaw in the system in the mechanism of the smooth operation of the department, in that, according to Mr. Sano, there is no internal mechanism for redress or for complain and correcting errors that in behind closed doors or in the absence of the public had made objections or raised objections, protest, even as far as going to the minister, and nothing was said. So that, to me, to begin with, no government system for they will get such a blank spot that when an objection is raised, there is no way of addressing the issue. The other thing we seem to be the issue of conflict of interest. If there is no rule, says the government official, prohibiting specifically the implied conflict of interest, to me, integrity matters. It seems to me Dr. Senge and Mr. Sano switch roles now, in the sense that the passion with which Mr. Sano objects to this whole process should have been that passion they exhibited by the minister. Now, the minister, before make sure say, the steps that Mr. Sano they say were not followed, were followed. So that in and of itself, forget about Senge in qualification, that shows a total lack of integrity. It shows complete unfitness for the job. Lack of integrity in the sense that it doesn't matter to him how he looks, how his country looks. It doesn't matter to him how what thing happened. He wants a specific person for the job. And that's all that matters. And this talk about, ask for the job, then gear, that may be true. But it sounds almost like a guy who says, they're not to pay me for this job, I just volunteer. Therefore, I can do anshabile. You don't ask for the job, but you know the commitment attached to the job. Everything you do represents the national image of the country as minister. So to me, for make such a callous statement that ask for the job, you can go back to MIT. And I'm not so sure MIT will be proud of getting him back. You then find out for say he's involved in corruption in the country, because these universities train you so you could go back and exemplify the quality and the standard where they don't think say they're not imparting you. So I think it's bluff talk to just saying will come back. He's rehiring at Yale or wherever he was working could be blocked if they are convinced that this was a person who will not exhibit, not reflect the standard of the university and not live up to the expectation. So that is said, but to me, that's water on a duck's back. So now the ministers say there is no law or rule or regulation prohibiting that type of hiring. But you see, even if there is none, in every well-constructive or constructed organization, there is always the issue of appearance of corruption. So even if there is no specific prohibition against certain practices, but if those practices appear to be unethical, we don't have to have rules on the books to say they must not be practiced. So now Mr. Sano makes an even stronger case where he say the rules call for direct supervision of the permanent secretary and the minister of the hiree. So if the person, the hiree, if he is the brother-in-law of the sister of the minister, how else can it not appear to be a conflict? When the minister and direct supervisor of Imbralo, and also the other thing is, Mr. Sano say the man this man with a hire when a bralo to Senge not get the requisite or even related qualification to the position. So there is so much wrong with the whole process. So, I mean, it's a little disheartening and sad that we get young people who are supposed to be even more creative, more visionary, more everything. Then they come in instead of just think of life as it is. If life were such that when the old, they go out, the young one, they would succeed the old, be more ignorant than the old, society will go backwards. This is the sad part about it. You will expect the young generations, like Senge, and many other young people in the government, will for come with innovation. You see, look America, the Microsoft, the Facebook, the Twitter, you know, you go on and on and on. Not to people that were old 70 or 80 years, and the younger generation, coming up with ideas for keep the world moving forward. So when you look at that, when we see say that David Senge, they not bring anything new to the table, and they're not the help for promote and progress in our country, that is the real sad part of the whole process. I could say more, but time is of the essence, so I'll yield to Madam Fadima.
Okay, thank you so much. One of the viewer online, Mr. Samua Kamara, say the minister has done a lot of job in the education system. He
Well,
has
let him give us
introduced
example.
data, and most people are not happy. What he has done in the few years, we have never achieved over 60 years. That might be true. It is true that Dr. David Senge Moinina has done a lot of things where don't come for help with the data system, for bring everything to the computer age and to bring things. But when you have something that shadows your good work, or sometimes we avoid stuff, we avoid things, we not go inside things the way they bring cloud over we aid. And you know, and as much as maybe the minister don't come out, the information side of the ministry, the public speaker of the Ministry of Education don't come out, sit and go through the process. There were 60 people that applied for the job, and then they cut down to 14, and then the one that is standing is Mr. Sise when Dr. Moinina in Branlaw, in brother-in-law, which my big sister in man. It is not looking good for him because of the assumption say, how come all the other people and Mr. Sano, when I bring the attention, who is the whistleblower, he make the statement say, he said the man is not even qualified. There are many more people that are qualified for the job from the criteria of waiting the job in description call for. So, but when when Mr. Sise gets the thing, it gonna look like say sometimes the process of the application, they just do a normal because that's what it is required. It can look that way there, and not them look good because, like I said, it broke my heart because I got a personal relationship with Dr. Senge because I'm a cousin in Pekin, and it's like I have hope that, you know, with the education, with the in years and stuff, it go do things the right way. And it's so disappointing to hear this, you know, and we still go hope say himself go come able for defending self to this. You know, we go try for reach out and see if he go able come for can defend himself, but Boko of them not like for talk na the media no more to we and all in continent, because that's a cloud that go stain in record. And just like I say, he go to one of the best schools in America, and the values of the school with this cloud overhead go kind of derail all the stuff we don't do. Yes, he don't do good stuff. Yes, he don't do good things. Yes, he don't do things. But this one here is not making him look good. It is not making it good. And Mr. Sano say then they pursue and more to come. And I know say the World Bank said they don't pull a press release and all when they call say then they look into the case or whatever their findings or whatever it is. I don't get her off my head again. But it is that they're going, then they take the accusation seriously and then they work on them and we'll see how I think say they don't even withdraw, then they go withdraw and withhold.
They withdraw the objection. The no objection and withdraw. It's withdrawn.
Okay, so then they withdraw the no objection. So you see, it is not looking good for the good of Sierra Leone. Sometimes we get for let go. Okay, we get for do the right thing. We must do the right thing because like how we say, I say before again, President Bill spend beaucoup money where it can inside follow we fight corruption. And we all are citizens of Sierra Leone, they join them, follow we fight this corruption. And people are fighting, people are saying, but yet Mr. Sano lost his job. Whatever I lose in job for, it don't please the president for getting a position where I think in the Ministry of Education anymore. So now he's jobless because he call out the issues. He call out things that where he say no right. Is that right for President Bio to do? Whatever the reason, he say or whatever. But I don't think we should discourage people the way they come out. Like he say, he go through the chain of command. He try for settle them. On the down low, for low fix her in-house, but because they're not fix her in-house, it come out and voice, and you see, it's look like anybody will come out and voice, you are the enemy of the government. Sometimes you're not the enemy, you want to see the right thing, and you stand with your conviction and moral, kind of say, we must do it right, and we must do it right the first time. So, it is sad. It saddens my heart. It really do hurt my heart to hear this. It really, it kind of sad. I'm disappointed, and so we go end for today, but we go come back. We will come back for try for talk on issues of Sierra Leone. We get for come back by the grace of God because not only they control life, and we get for Mugulify Sierra Leone. John Magufuli of the late. Now he is of blessed memories. May his soul rest in peace. The example of leaders like that for try for push we to the right direction. We're coming on 60 years of independence. We're trying to make it right. We're trying to do things right. We not a grow. We not a grow. The wheel of justice is not. It's not moving. It seems like it's on a standstill. The parliament is not doing the work. I mean, we not get chance for go onto the Lara Pierce, the Auditor General. We hear people that have not done nothing with themselves in life, but yet they're going after a woman that is sacrificing for trying to do the job for straight in the country. But yet we hear people, and it does turn my stomach where there is some people of no, I mean, to themselves in their lives is a failure, just their own little life. I mean, the things of society that society just puts guidance for there we go, we're not able to follow that, but yet you stand to criticize a woman, number one, because they're not a respecter, because she's a woman, and because number two, she speaks on things that are not being done right. And they come after people, and that culture we get for Breakham. How is your life or you people their life don't change for the past 60 years where Sierra Leone don't day? They one that we not been born the 10 where Sierra Leone begin their independence. Una mama they don't tell una story, una granny they don't tell una story. Waiting don't change. Waiting don't change per the country with corruption, with people not doing the right thing. From the top to the bottom, we all just broken. We're broken. We don't have self-love. We don't even love ourselves yet alone. How can we give and care and show compassion to the next person? How can we work to change other people's life so we society go thrive? And we see people them they go school, then don't school, work not day. Yes, it happen at then developing countries, but it's not even to the scale where they happen in our African countries. We are rich people, but we live in poor. We get so many things at we disposal, but we don't know what do you have in your hand. That's what God may ask Moses. God say, go set my people free. And Moses asked the question, God, I have nothing. And he said, what do you have in your hand? He said, I have a stick. He said, go tell Pharaoh to let my people go. With that stick, he parts. The story is his allegorical story. So use it, apply that story in anything of life. Go use that stick, whatever you have in your hand. Go make that difference. Go be the change you want to see. Go take that message. Go bring the change. Let we come together for change. Sierra Leone, let we get a progressive mind. Let we try. Let we come up at the business as usual, by the old things. Let we have the courage for speak against people that do not do the right thing. It don't matter if now you love one, if now you enemy. It don't matter. But let we get the courage for stand and speak. And that's go get we a better country. So me, I don't done at the person to me co-host them. Me and say goodbye to Una. I love you all as usual. Go make a difference. Go give somebody else. Go give kind words. Go do something. Do something. Not for yourself, but do something for somebody. Just out of impulse. Go do something good for somebody. Go do something. Just go make somebody happy. Go make somebody smile. Go do something. Go do something. I love you all. Remember, God is love. Till next week, may God preserve us all. May God keep us all. And, for whoever you praying to, we pray, we command the universe for keep we with long life and, for comeback and health, for can't talk on issues. So I love you all. And remember, God is love. Like I always say, go work on yourself. If I'm shining, not be jealous of me. Go work on yourself. Mr. One of me viewer then say I look like $1 million today and I'm feeling good. That's the word I take forth. And I pronounce it to the universe. For let the universe, I bring forth positive energy, positive love. I bring love towards me. I'm glowing. Thank you. I love you all. Remember, God is love. Good night. I pass them back to Una. Because the Lord talk to people that were on our last words.
Well, because we're out of time, I'd say good night. Thank you for listening. Hope we'll meet again next week. And what you want to discuss this week, we'll discuss next week, hopefully. Thank you.
Thank you,
And by
sir.
God
To you,
power, let
Professor.
people then, thank you, ma'am. By God power, let people then learn for understand, say, and get in a call pride word before destruction. Like you sabi bukte like cockroach, you sabi the bukte the eater because that's so cockroaching they do. Sabi bukte the eater. But there's something they call them a pride. Humility. Humility, they go a long way for help enhance and sustain what you be. And then finally, do have some of we don't get tough for they say a Rastafarian as a minister. We say people we look good. We know all Rastas there for be minister there to we. Goodbye. Thank you very much.
No, I not gonna agree to that too. That's idea. I not gonna agree to you can take that with me because in Pekin, they got some fairy and style. That's his look. But anyway, I just want to say one thing. I don't say I don't say goodbye, but I see something will tickle me. And Salone first say the hand that feeds us controls us. Like I can always say, to whom you give your money is to who you give your power to. Good job on that one. And then we Sister Flourish Johnson says the only thing we can celebrate is the cotton tree because it still stands despite all the harsh weather. So now cotton tree one grade don't team up longer, and we are resilient people like the cotton tree. We will stand and we will weed one by one as the good farmer will do. Take all the weeds out where they suffocate the plants. So till next week, good night. Love you all.